Episode 9, Squeeze the Neck podcast, and look who it is.
Back again,
He's back. The first repeat guest, Mr. Tom Jackman.
So many firsts.
So many firsts. And we are back for UFC 302, Makhachev versus Poirier review. My old mate here always does his homework, so we're all set and ready to rock and roll.
Exactly, pages announced this time.
So, pages announced this time.
Pages.
I can't read that well, so we'll have to slow it down. But we are on, so... I think we should start from the top this time. Last time we worked up the card.
Yeah, man,
I'm going to be honest, I only watched the main card because, you know, the fights down the card didn't look so appealing. So I thought I'd take the extra sleep and fuck it. We go for the main card.
Did you get up in the night to watch it?
No, I got up at 4-ish and watched it live.
That's
so, yeah. Well, if you like. I got to bed about 8, then I'm fucking boring, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, good card. I was pleased with the card. I was pleased with what I watched.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I guess that only the trouble is that they're following, obviously the last time that we spoke, they're following 300 effectively. I know the 301 was between it. But like everything kind of pales into insignificance next to the enormity of that card. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. A lot of decisions though.
A lot of decisions. I'm not sure about the gloves in the main event either. Are you? What's the goldness about?
What did I say? I said that they look like gloves from like a low-level regional show that's been done for like copyright infringement on UFC gloves. Yeah, it's not the vibe.
I mean, they changed the gloves, haven't they? But I don't know why they've changed the colour.
But plenty of eye pokes still.
Anyway, plenty of eye pokes, plenty of, nothing changed. Just a new pair of fucking gloves. All right, mate. Should we start from the top?
Yeah, man.
Islam and Dustin Poirier. Tell me.
I mean, after I sort of got over the terrible gloves, like the first thing I started looking for was I saw that Bisping said that he thought that Islam had staph.
Yeah, that was before the fight, right?
Yeah,
there was a photo shoot with his foot,
and he's got that really aggy sort of welt on his shin.
And he also in the fight with what's his name, the little Aussie.
Volks.
I don't know, I forgot his name. But he had IV marks in his arm, wasn't it? So there's all kinds of things going on.
I just think like in the run up to the fight, I thought Islam looked wrecked, mate. He just even by sort of weight cut standards, he just looked ruined. Mm-hmm. There's that part embedded where Poirier's gone back up to him and said, "Oh, sorry for calling you a motherfucker" or something. And like he looks ruined, like Daniel Cormier zombie ruined. And I was wondering, like, is he going to be able to sort of recover properly? But obviously, there's some sort of mysterious Russian supplements that he's taken that enable him to go from exactly allegedly.
USADA's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think he's massive, right? For the weight, if you see the size of him compared to like Khabib's massive, and he looks bigger than Khabib.
Yeah, exactly.
When they're together.
But also like as soon as that first round kicked off, like he gets that takedown sort of 40 seconds in, and immediately starts executing that game plan that they've obviously been training for weeks. And like I was thinking how psychologically good that must be for him, but how bad it must be for Poirier. Like defending takedowns for 12 weeks, working that game plan for 12 or however long it is, and then 40 seconds in, he's on his back in the middle of the cage.
See, I wonder with these whether he's over prepared for that, so he's almost accepting it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's so prepared that I'm going to get taken down. When it comes,
I know I can get back up.
I'll get back. Yeah, exactly. I know what I'm doing here. Because Islam looks big compared to Poirier to me. He looked like strong when he got a hold of him. It looked like Poirier weren't interested, but you know what I mean? He looked like a little bit like, well, it's okay. I know this is coming. I'll accept this. And
he said himself at the end of in the post fight interview, that he's had 50 fights now. Yeah. So. Like, how concerned is he when he's in those tough situations? Because he's been in so many tough situations.
He kept talking about money as well, didn't he? He spoke a few times about his family's good. He doesn't need money.
Yeah.
And I think he's out and he's halfway out. He's got a daughter that I don't know how old she is, but she looks like she's probably 8 or 10, right?
That old, yeah.
She's like a proper little girl, isn't she? So I don't know, man. When you've lost for the title a few times, it's got to get you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what he's saying. Like, he can still compete with it, but like, can he win it? He got the interim though, didn't he?
He got the interim, but I think that burns more, doesn't it? Because it's like you're not the real champ, are you? Do you know what I mean? You're champ in the interim, as the name says. But he's, I thought he had his moments, didn't he? But he didn't ever look like he was going to win it to me.
Yeah, I saw some of those judges' scorecards that gave the second and the fourth to him until obviously the submission. So he's definitely competitive, and he can definitely like stand up in front of.
I think he's just one of them people that there's certain people he can't beat. I think he's at that kind of level where just certain. You know what I mean? Like
individuals.
The top guys, he can't find a way to beat. And there's been loads of them like that as well, isn't there? Like,
exactly.
But Bisping, when you said about Bisping earlier, he was one of them for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
And he found a way. So you can do it. And he's only 35, I think he said, wasn't he?
Don't know.
I think he said he's 35, so he's got a bit of time in it if he wants it.
Do you reckon he can do that at 35?
I don't know, mate. I'm not that old yet.
Yeah,
How old are you?
41.
Oh, I didn't realise that. I wouldn't have had you on.
Someone said to me at training the other day, then when I was just dying on my ass, and I always use it as like an excuse when I'm sucking in air like a Dyson. They're like, "You all right?" I'm like, "I'm in my 40s."
Where was this?
This was at Tokai in London Bridge, with Liam.
Budo, shout out Budo. I've been trying to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, man, he'd be a great guest.
He'd be a great guest. But yeah, what's next for Poirier? Does he retire or what?
Like, how much surely he's got to weigh up the balance of things like how much damage is his body taking. Like, we don't know about his potential injuries.
He's had hip surgery, I think, at least once. He had a hip problem for years, didn't he? I think he had a couple of hip surgeries and then a proper one to sort it.
But I would obviously not a surgeon or a doctor, but like they'll do hip replacement stuff these days, like same day. So I wonder if it's been something sort of super serious or something that's easily fixed. Yeah. Like, if I were him, I'd be worried about the potential for CTE and the potential for like head injury. But like, how are you balancing that against your ability to earn money in the future? Because once he retires, he might have this sort of profile now, but how many sort of former UFC champions, he's going to likely going to go into the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Yeah.
How many of those champions are able to like earn good money into their retirement?
But he's had 3 Conor McGregor fights, 2 really, and 2 with
that's proper money,
isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think. Well, by the sound of it, he said he's set. He said it's good for money.
Fair enough.
And how much money do you need? Because if you're earning more money, your lifestyle goes up, doesn't it? Your outgoings.
Yeah, true.
But
I think that when you see a lot of these sort of UFC fighters, they do have quite like they have quite humble homes, like because the money on the way up has been dog shit. Like, they do live quite humble lives sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the bit I saw
like McGregor.
Yeah, exactly. His boat is rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, only a Lamborghini yacht. What was it? He was on the dole 10 years ago, and now he's like got a Lamborghini yacht and all his shit going on. So
his watch is worth more than my house.
Is it really? You old dosser, you. Yeah, no, that's madness. Mad money. All right, so Makhachev, where does he go next? Because he's talking about welterweight
going up.
I'd like to see him fight Leon. I think it's a good fight, man.
That would be mega. Like, do you think that Leon's got an answer for the wrestler even after Kamaru?
I mean, it's a different level of wrestling, I think. And we saw like that kind of style of wrestling with Kamaru in his last fight with Hamza. He kind of rolled it in a bit, didn't he? But he's also lost 3 in a row. So is he on the slide, age-wise, all that stuff? But Leon's a big boy, apparently. Leon's really big. Makhachev's big for lightweight. But he can make lightweight. Leon can't make lightweight. So I'd like to see the fight. I think it's a good style matchup, and I think there's potential. And if you ask me, I'd probably lean towards Makhachev for that fight.
Yeah, probably. Do you think that, like, I was listening to something on Joe Rogan, I think maybe, where they were talking about that sort of Dagestani fighter culture, and they're talking about how they're just super disciplined, super religious. There are absolutely no distractions in camps. Like, do you think that gives them just a natural kind of focus advantage over literally everyone else?
I think that must go, isn't it? Because if you're in your sort of early years wrestling bears and your dad's making you do it, and then when you get older, you're very religious. You're not allowed to drink. You're not going out partying and being with dirty women.
But then you've got like McGregor in the club, absolutely hammering booze and God knows what else in camp. Like, that focus versus Khabib's focus for their sort
John Jones is probably a better example. John Jones is notorious for it. Conor, I don't think Conor was doing that on the way up, was he? I think he's doing that now with his Lamborghini yacht and whatnot. But he's, I think John Jones is a good example. I think if it works for you as well. But he's also, like, John Jones is super talented. He's got touched by God. But yeah, it's got to help. He's got to help in it because there's so many of them that are coming out of there that are sort of tearing it up now.
Exactly.
All of them. And a big thing as well, going to the religion thing. If you're not drinking alcohol, that's got to help them. Just a simple thing like that.
Exactly.
Right? They're in camp. They're not going out partying, worrying about dirty women. They're just not drinking. They're going to bed at whatever time, getting up and training. Got to help in it.
Surely. Clean
living, doing the whole thing. Because Khabib, even though he had all that, he still retired at 32, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or 31 or whatever he was. So
he's got all the time for the drinking and the dirty women now.
There you go. And he don't do it. Waste the time. Wasting himself. But yeah, I'd like to see him go up. What do you think?
Yeah, man, it would be amazing.
Who else is he going to fight? He's going to fight Arman Tarzukian, if that's how you say his name.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, exactly.
Beat him, and then he's kind of, to me, he's cleared out the division.
But then that's it. He's kind of done at that.
The only thing I could see happening is if Conor knocks Chandler dead.
Oh man, yeah.
He's getting a title shot.
Oh my god.
He's getting a title shot, isn't he?
Yeah, of course.
And then he's fighting Islam, and he's looking at that as his route to Khabib.
Is he gonna like?
Oh, if
party in the club when?
But let's just play the game. I can see him beating Chandler easy.
Yeah.
You know,
really.
If he's the old Conor, I think like Conor in his prime spanks him style wise.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't think he will beat him. But that's another story. But if he does beat him, let's just say he beats him comfortable, and by some way he beats Islam as well, which I don't see happening.
Yeah.
But he's getting a title shot if he beats him. Right. Let's be fair. And then he's going to be crying for that Khabib fight, isn't he? Screaming for it.
Yeah, exactly. Which Conor's going to turn up to fight Islam, though? The sort of guy who fought Poirier, who was really lovely and charming, or the guy who tears pictures of Jose Aldo in half in Brazil?
But there's 3 different types as well, isn't there?
There's a third one, right?
Well, because there's the Conor that fought Khabib and the Conor that fought Poirier the third time, where he's in that nasty sort of mode. But it's almost a bit fake, isn't it? And it's almost like he's trying to play. Whereas the geezer that was against Aldo ripping up pictures, to me, he was kind of straddling both lines. Yeah. Because he was having fun, wasn't he? He weren't too serious. Remember when he was on the show and he was squeezing him and he was going, touch it. But he's having a laugh and he's happy. Like the other style of it, I think it's too much, isn't it? It's too much to think about and whatnot. But Conor beats Islam. Does he fight Khabib or what?
Do you think that would realistically happen? Because I think if Khabib says he's not coming back, then he's not coming back.
I don't know. I don't know personally. I don't think he could beat Islam either. I don't think he'll have a pair against Islam. I think he beats. I just said I don't think he beats Chandler. I go back and forth on that. I think he beats Chandler, and then I don't think he beats Chandler.
I think
Chandler, but then I would do
so focused and driven, and still like a full-time professional MMA fighter. Yeah. Conor has been a full-time millionaire, party animal,
multi-millionaire, hundreds of millions,
proper millionaire.
That's fuck you money. Proper fuck you money. I do whatever I want forever.
And like the business interests are massive. Like, you know, we know about the Black Forge in Dublin. We know that he's done his time with Proper 12. You know, just being connected to hospitality. Like, you know that he's doing the Black Forge Stout now as well. The sponsor Theon Davies.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of stuff in his interest that will continue to catapult him, but also potentially continue to distract him from MMA.
I think he's got to have an exit strategy, isn't he? Because otherwise, I mean,
he's on doing it.
He's on, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's lost something like 4 of his last 6 or something between Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
You don't want to finish your career, however much money you got. I don't think he wants to finish his career on like a 6-fight losing streak, does he? And like, you know, he weren't that good. Yeah. Well, he was that good in his prime, wasn't he? But if he'd have retired after Eddie Alvarez, before he fought Mayweather, now I know you earned a shit ton of money and he wouldn't change that. But if he'd have retired then and walked away, his legacy looks a lot different, doesn't it?
Yeah, true.
But it is what it is.
Do you think he cares?
You got to care, innit? Because it doesn't matter how much money you got, you still go to bed at night and putting your head on the pillow and going, I'm fucking...
Yeah, but when you're going into your ultra king-size bed and all of your...
Alaskan king, they call it now, don't they?
Bed linen is made of whale foreskin because you're so rich. Yeah. Do you care?
But I think you do, because you've run out of things to worry about.
I think that's where we're different, my friend.
Do you think? You're looking for the old Alaskan king-size bed and like, I'm rich.
Yeah, I would sleep very well on that pillow.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you would, until you've got it. And then you've been in that bed for 2 weeks and you're going... What the fuck am I going to do now? There's only so many times I can go in the fucking Bay of Dublin in my Lamborghini yacht before I'm bored out my fucking mind, you know?
The Bay of Dublin.
Do you know what I'm saying? He's still got 3 kids or 4 kids, or how many kids he's got. Yeah. And it's like, at a certain point, you're going to go, what am I doing now? Because he's young enough.
I don't know.
No, you still want the Alaskan king and chill?
I want the king and chill, yeah, absolutely.
Very good. We'll get you, like, as soon as you get to purple belt, you can just chill out.
Thanks, mate.
He's happy.
Purple belt retired.
Yeah, so, all right, mate, next card down. Now, this is a strange fight, the old Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa.
Yeah, mate. Like, I thought immediately, like, as soon as they came out, I was like, Costa is bigger than a housemate. Like, he is a giant, giant dude. Like, so, like, heavily muscled and so, like, he looks so much bigger and more frightening than Strickland. But actually, like, as Adesanya said, like, muscles don't win fights. And it's just another case of Strickland doing exactly what he does every single time. I was talking to Bude Wandi the other day about Roger Gracie's cross-collar choke from Mount and how he just beat everybody with a cross-collar choke from Mount. Sean Strickland is effectively going to do the same thing. He's just going to do the Philly shell, going to walk forward and just, like, make Paulo Costa... like just run away for 25 minutes and just jab away and drill away and beat him every time. Even he said in the post-fight interview, like, it was a really boring fight. I'm really sorry. And I was like, yeah, actually, it was. Like, you're not seeing any dynamic MMA in there at all. It's just ploddy, one foot after another towards the opponent. Like, I was watching it thinking, like, I'm so knackered after warm-ups. And Paulo Costa's basically just doing a round the ring or round the mat warm-up for 25 minutes. Like, no wonder he's knackered and getting punched.
Yeah.
I just don't think it makes for exciting fights.
Something's changed in him, I think. There was a lot of things I thought was weird about that. I thought he looked big as well.
Yeah.
But then when he was actually in there, I didn't think he looked that big compared to Strickland.
Yeah.
When they were actually fighting. Obviously, they've got completely different bodies, haven't they? He's like God.
True.
He just seemed like Strickland seemed powerful and fucking... He just seemed like it was... something like Costa fought Yoel Romero not too long ago, right? And went at it.
Yeah.
I think since he got fucked up by Izzy, something's changed, didn't it? And now he's kind of in this weird... Because he just looked like he had no interest, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
He might be injured. Who knows, right? But something was off of him. And I just thought, Sean Strickland's a great fighter, right? I thought he won his last one as well.
Yeah.
I thought he beat the Safa. But it is what it is, isn't it? He's going to fight Izzy next, apparently. What do you think's going to happen there before we come back to this one?
Good question, mate. I think that there's probably a lot of... It might be a similar situation because there's probably quite a lot of psychological trauma getting beaten emphatically and embarrassingly.
For Izzy, we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So for him to come back into like... I think there's probably going to be a lot of psychological stuff going on in there as well. I do think Izzy handles that stuff well, and he's spoken sort of candidly when he lost the title. It was like, look, this is just part of it. It's part of what... when Pereira knocked him out. Talked candidly about like, champions lose and champions come back, and I was like, all right, he's good. I don't know if that's the same after Strickland. But
he's another one who's rich as fuck and like partying with all the people, isn't he? And he's a bit older, I think. He's sort of 37-ish, I think, is he? Isn't he? 36, 37. But the other thing as well, I just think people compare him and say he's the best of all time. Rogan said it as well, that he's better than Anderson. To me, I'm like, yo, let's all slow down. Yeah. I don't see it. He's lost 2 of his last 3.
Yeah.
He went up to light heavyweight, lost to Jan. No, not there's anything wrong with that, but I don't think you can put him in the same bracket as an Anderson Silva.
But also, they're talking about Islam and being the pound for pound number 1.
Dana shut that down. Did you see that?
Shut that down. Yeah. And like, and obviously he talks about John Jones. My brother sent me a video this morning. And the title of the video is John Jones beating UFC champions. And there's just a compilation video of fighters getting their belt put around them. Shogun, Rampage, Rashad, who else? Machida. And then John Jones murking them. It's like a 45-second video, and you think about like none of these people have defended the title that many times and beaten that many people. Yeah,
and undefeated all that time. Yeah. He's got one bullshit loss on his record. For anyone who don't know, it was an illegal blow when he basically knocked the guy out.
The 12 to 6?
But he had him down. He was pounding, and he didn't have to do it. He just for no reason slapped one of them on him, and the ref. But it looked like they was going to call it a no contest, and then they seemed to change their mind. And this is like 2009, right? So it's a different world with it, but he's undefeated essentially, right? Exactly. So had a couple of questionable ones, like the Dominic Reyes and whatnot. True. I think he beat Gustafsson the first time, close fight.
Did, yeah.
The Reyes one's the one where you go, I don't know, but he got the win, so fuck it.
But interesting as well, like when Reyes lost that fight, like maybe it was like in the high 200s. He's like at the bottom of the undercard now.
He's lost 4 in a row, I think, since, hasn't he?
Right.
He definitely lost 3 in a row. I think it's 4.
It's just crazy how that kind of fall from form is so steep.
I think at that level it's so close and it's so tight. Right. And then as soon as you slip a bit, we're jumping all over the place. To bring it back to Strickland and stuff, we went from Izzy to John to back to here. So if we go back to Izzy, I think Izzy, it's a bit like the Conor McGregor thing, which I said. If Izzy's on form, he should beat Dricus, right?
Yeah.
But I think Dricus beats him. And then I think he's got to fight Sean Strickland again, right?
But Duplessis is going to hang out for UFC in South Africa, isn't he?
Is that happening?
I don't know.
They've been speaking about it for years, though, haven't they?
But that's what I think he wants. So I wonder if he's just going to knock back those, like hold up that division.
How long can you do that for? Dana ain't going to play this shit, is he? Dana's going to go, nah, bitch, fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you got it because you're champ. Yeah, exactly. Or give up the belt or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But Conor McGregor's been talking about fighting in Ireland since he started, which was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's never happened. Well, it has happened, but not in the arena he wanted it to, or Croke Park, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I think Sean Strickland should beat. I think Sean Strickland beat him last time. I think he definitely beat him this time. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's underrated, Sean.
Yeah.
I didn't give him a prayer in the world against Izzy, but then watching the fight,
mate,
he's great, man.
But don't you think that like that kind of like Sean's obviously established this technique of kicking people in the stomach, walking forward and working off the jab, and like making them move around a lot and trying to fight backwards. Like, do you think that that's sustainable forever? Because he's not like that Hodge Gracie thing. Everyone goes into those fights knowing that you're going to get cross-collar choke from Mount.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you're going to go into a Sean Strickland fight, and you know exactly what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. Like, is it sustainable? Because surely, like, someone's going to crack that eventually.
I think sometimes people are so good you can't do anything about it. Like, there's no one like Khabib is an example.
Yeah.
Everyone knew what he was going to do, but no one could do anything about it. You know what I mean? And with Strickland, I think he's cut out a lot of shit. He doesn't try and do too much. He knows what he is, and he's just going to stick it on you. And he said before, and we keep saying about Rogan, he was on Rogan's podcast talking about how he doesn't really train, he just spars.
Yeah.
Turns up twice a day and spars.
Yeah.
And he had, I think he had some
30 rounds.
It was some gum shield or something, like, and everyone that he tested, he got hit the least of anybody.
Oh,
some kind of thing that registers every time you're getting hit, and he gets hit the least. So I think you can adapt. Like, if you could only do one thing for training, like, you know yourself with jiu-jitsu, right? If you can only do one thing, you ain't shrimping up the mat or doing De La Riva. You're just going to spar, right, and figure it out. And I think there's something to that. You know, I do think if you're just sparring all the time, you get good at not getting hit.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean? As long as you're not lumping each other up, the opponent can try and lump you up. But if you're constantly playing that, like, I do this all the time game, I think it works. And it's obviously worked. He's champion. Well, he was champion. Should probably still be champion.
Yeah, man. Yeah, fair.
That's my 2 cents anyway. So, next one, a submission here when he broke his arm. Kevin Holland versus Michael. What's the surname, bro?
Mate, I wrote it down.
We've got a
lot. Olejczyk.
Yeah,
Olejczyk.
Very good. Okay.
A guy from Poland.
Very good. Polish guy.
Yeah, mate. Like, I wrote in there, like the whole sequence is great. Like, Holland's got this massive reach advantage. He initially gets knocked down. He has a crack at the triangle. His triangle defense is poor. You can see when he puts his leg over to change to attack the arm. I'm not going to try and say it. The Polish guy just goes, fuck. Like, he visibly shouts, like, oh my God, I've fucked up so badly. So it must be, like, super tight. The gripping with the glove as well. Like, he's not pulling that out. And then, like, Kevin Holland obviously, like, is working the arm, and then he takes the pressure off, like, speaks to, is it Herb Dean?
I think it was Herb Dean.
Herb Dean. And then literally just breaks it or dislocates it or whatever over his hip, and Herb Dean stops it. Like, and then when he stands up, he's completely wrecked. But I was going to ask you, like, because Herb Dean stopped it, and they said in the broadcast, Herb Dean stopped it when Frank Mir broke Tim Sylvia's radius and ulnar, visibly, like, but that whole those long bones just broke. You can see them break. That's like a dislocation over the elbow. Do you think that they should be stopping fights for injuries like that?
No, I think it's tricky. I think it is tough because I think Tim Sylvia said he didn't want him to stop it at the time, but after he was glad because it saved his career.
Exactly.
So it's tough, isn't it? I don't know. My first reaction is no, don't stop it because he ain't tapped. He's still conscious. It's up to him, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But the other side of that is how far do you go with it? Yeah. Someone rips a leg off and it's bleeding everywhere. He ain't tapped yet. What are you going to do?
Beaten with a limb.
Anderson Silva didn't tap when he broke his leg against Chris Weidman, right?
Good point.
I mean, I know it's a knockout. It's not a great example, but probably should stop it, right?
That's a welfare issue, isn't it? Rather than anything else. But I mean, like, I really like. I really needed that. Well, they called it a technical submission as well.
because he didn't tap. That's what they call a choke. So if someone gets choked out and they don't tap, that's called a technical submission.
Good knowledge.
Yeah.
I kind of needed it, to be honest with you, because we'd had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decisions ahead of that. I was like, I needed like something to stop it because I was getting a bit slumpy.
Yeah, I mean? Like, Did you watch it live or after?
No, I watched it after, so I'm zipping through all the adverts.
That's proper old man territory. I'm not watching it live.
Well, I've got exactly. I've got like the Sunday morning to do it, and my wife starts to get aggy with me because I really like shout first thing Sunday morning, especially if it's really exciting.
You stopped backhanded and that, haven't you? I thought we went over this last time.
Yeah, temporarily. So yeah, like, I needed like something exciting to happen, and it was it's a short.
It was up at middleweight as well, which we ain't touched on, which I think is important. I know he can make welterweight, and he's got that kind of long, skinny build.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's big, man. I don't know how tall he is. He looks like he's about 6'3". He's got big shoulders, wide shoulders. Definitely. Just fight a middleweight.
But the range as well, when you're fighting someone like the Polish guy, is such an enormous advantage as well. Or I thought it would be, but then he's getting knocked down in inside what 10, 15 seconds.
But I mean, yeah, shorter guy gets used to being a shorter guy, don't they? Mike Tyson was a shorter guy. Do you know what I mean?
sure.
You play that game. You can't play the jab in, stay away, pick and poke game, can
exactly.
he? But you know, you play with what you got, don't you? You know what I mean? And I think fighting, like unlike other sports, you don't need a particular body type, do you? If you look at all the divisions, there's different types of builds that seem to like.
Yeah, true.
Daniel Cormier is a good example for a heavyweight who's 5'10".
Yeah, agreed. But I would say that you've got people like John Jones, for instance, who is what 6'4", 6? No,
probably 6'4". I think he's listed at 6'4".
Me and my brother met him in Los Angeles.
You did. You told me this was a good story. Tell this one. This was a good one.
Yeah, we were in a club called the Sayers Club in LA, and this was like 2010, I think it was.
So it's just before he was champion, sort of time.
He just fought Vitor Belfort.
Oh, so it's a bit after this. I think it was 2012. I think it was 2012.
Really? Yes, you're absolutely right. 2012, I beg your pardon. And the club had closed, and in LA, there's like this culture where basically the club closes at 2, because I was in my 20s then, most probably. Was I?
Just turned 30.
I was going
to say just about 30.
There's this culture where everyone hangs out the front and tries to find a house party because nothing is open after 2 a.m. It's a dry city after 2 a.m. So I've gone off somewhere, and I come back and I see my brother talking to this dude. My brother is looking over his shoulder at me, like making a face, and I was like, fuck, it's going to kick off. Like, I thought something was wrong. So I came bowling over, and Nick was chatting to John Jones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
John Jones is out in the club.
Yeah, man.
With the common folk.
Yeah, so anyway, so we get chatting to him, and we're trying to convince him to kick one of us, like typical, like, dressed up dickheads. Yeah. Trying to convince him to kick one of us, and he's like, no, absolutely not. But he did, I think he kicked my brother's hand. My brother stuck his hand out like at head height, and he did kick my brother's hand, which was amazing.
How big's your brother? Is your brother a big lump as well?
He's taller than me at 6'3", so he's
like comparable size to John Jones. So John Jones is like licking his lips, looking at him.
Man,
like,
exactly, yeah. You'll learn. Anyway, then I went to the bathroom afterwards, and bloody John Jones comes in. He's at the urinal next to me, and I was like, I've got to ask him about his arm, because do you remember when Belfort had him in the armbar?
Fucked his arm up, didn't tap. Well, that's touches on what we spoke about before, right?
In terms of
exactly. He didn't tap.
Exactly, and managed to get out of it. And I said to him, I was like, John, I've got to ask you, mate, like, how's the arm after the Belfort fight? And he goes, yeah, it's fine, man, it's still good. And he goes, well, you're British? I said, yeah. And he started talking to me in a British accent. And I was talking to him in an American accent. And I look back on it now, many years later, and I'm like, that's one of the most surreal experiences of my life. Having a wee, talking to a UFC champion in an American accent while he responds in a British accent. It was a crazy time. Crazy time.
Yeah, when you said to him, I asked him about his arm, I wonder if he's going to ask him about standing at your right.
Exactly. Whoa. Which arm do you mean?
Didn't this fight? But that's funny. John Jones, because was he a wildcat or was he a nice guy? Because you hear stories about him.
Super nice.
Was he?
Mate. Yeah, man. Like this is John. Obviously, I mean it's 2M. He was with Clay Guida as well.
Oh, was he?
So it's him.
Another lunatic.
Yeah, me, my brother, him, and Clay Guida were just fucking standing outside this club in Los Angeles, just hammered, drunk, talking absolute rot, mate. It was, So he was obviously like on the big lash back then as well.
Oh yeah, I think he's always been, by the sound of it.
Exactly.
Have you seen pictures of him now or videos of him now doing like little seminar things?
Bits and pieces.
Well, he ain't missing any meals, is what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, man. Exactly. But he took 2 or 3 years to get up to that weight, didn't he?
Yeah, but he looked a bit fat in the face and stuff, didn't he? Now I know you can get into shape pretty lively, can't you? Because he was on a yacht recently as well. Did you see the one of him on the yacht? With the big,
really, no, I didn't
he kind of whispers something in the big bouncer's ear. But it seems like I might be getting this a little bit wrong. I only saw it quickly, but he's like on like a table. It looks like on a yacht, and everyone's sort of just standing around, and he's sort of jamming to it. It looks like in his own little world. So I think he's enjoying himself,
right?
Whatever he's doing. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I mean,
in the clue.
Well, in the clue, but he's not. I don't think he's got a date signed up yet, has he? Date nailed down. Because he's still recovering from injuries.
Exactly. They're talking about going backwards and forwards between him and Stipe, aren't
He's fighting Stipe, but I don't think they've got a date nailed.
Yeah, exactly.
And Aspinall's fighting.
Who else have they been? Has he been talking to Aspinall?
Aspinall's fighting Curtis Blades for the interim.
Exactly,
so that fight's going down in Manchester soon. So he's booked up. So you've got to think him and Stipe, John Stipe, is lined up pretty soon, right?
Yeah,
so
man.
they've got something to go to.
Yeah, exactly. That would be... I'm very much looking forward to that one. Stipe hasn't fought for...
Since he got knocked out by Ngannou. It was in a Apex fight. It was in an Apex fight with no crowd, so it was during lockdown. So it's got to be 3 years, isn't it? At least.
And I think he's pushed out a couple of kids since then, hasn't he?
Has he?
So, so hasn't fought for 3 years, dad life,
And he's well into his 40s now. I think he's mid-40s.
Is he?
I think he's coming into... I think he's 43. I might be wrong, but he's definitely past 40.
Life just ends after 40.
Is that what it is? I mean, you tell me. You've but yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that fight. I would have liked to have seen that fight 5 years ago. Now I think it's fairly obvious what's going to happen if John Jones is still John Jones, because we don't know what was happening with him either. He's had a couple of surgeries.
Exactly. How long can he sustain that? How long can he continue to fight a heavyweight without taking damage? Well,
I think by the sound of him, he's got a couple of fights left, and I think he sounds like he's ready to go. I think his plan would seem like it's beat Stipe, beat Aspinall if he comes through blades.
Yeah.
Off into the sun. And what are you going to do from there? You're the GOAT at that point. Unless Ngannou dusts himself off and comes back, which he ain't going to do. Nah. Plus, he's just been knocked out by Joshua, so things gone down. And he's lost his son, bless him, as well, hasn't he? Is, so he ain't thinking about fighting, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's got other things to worry about. So I think 2 more fights for John, and he's out.
Fair enough.
All right, mate. Nico Price, Alex Morono. Not the most exciting fight in the world.
No, man. And I wrote in my notes, I was like, I start to lose a bit of interest.
that was make a cup of tea and take a piss time.
Yeah, man, exactly. There are a couple of good grappling exchanges. I thought that Nico was shooting lots of strikes out from sort of especially bad positions.
Do you agree with the decision before we touch on the fight too much?
To be honest, mate, I don't think I was paying enough
attention. I kind of shrugged my shoulders.
Yeah, I was like, meh, fair enough.
Yep.
But I put another grindy decision in.
You've really made notes on this one. This man doesn't homework. There might be a part 3 coming at some point.
It's only because I have no short-term memory whatsoever.
And his wife's half throwing him out, so don't worry. We can gloss over that one, really, I think, can't we? That one, and the one before that as well, was pretty close from memory. Again, I didn't watch it too.
Yeah.
I was more, to be honest with you, on this card, I started watching the main card, and I came... When the Kevin Holland fight came on, is when I started getting excited more.
Yeah, man,
more relevant, right?
There was the only thing that I wanted to talk about, especially in that fight, was the questionable restart from the referee after the eye poke.
Of course, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that completely.
We were talking about the new gloves before, and they clearly do fuck all in terms of reducing the eye pokes, which was one of the sort of primary reasons for redesigning the thing to keep the hand curved, which obviously fighters can open the hand past, but obviously Morono takes the eye poke, and then is obviously signaling. He gets poked in the eye. He's signaling to the ref that he's been poked in the eye, and the ref is like, "Time, you've been poked in the eye. All right, let's go." Yeah,
it was a bit. I think there's so much pressure on refs now because so many people talk about them. And let's be honest, again, talking about Rogan's show, if Rogan brings it up on there, every person in the world sees it, and more people see that than see the fight. So people listen to Rogan. If Rogan's coating someone off, they just agree. They know, it must be Rogan said it.
Exactly.
So I think there's a lot of pressure on refs now, isn't it? And I don't know what a referee gets paid, but I'm assuming they're not getting paid millions.
Probably not.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's a normal job, essentially.
Agree, but I would say that stoppages for groin strikes, eye pokes, what else is there? That's probably it, really. They're the things that we see most often.
Yeah.
They're so well rehearsed and so well established as things that happen routinely in MMA. They've got to be. They have to give someone as someone who's had I've had 3 really bad pokes in this same eye. I've had corneal abrasions all 3 times. When you get a bad poke, it's fucked.
Yeah.
You can't.
Bad.
I'm that's the end of this training session. I'm going to go to hospital and get some antibiotics and shit for it. That's as soon as that happens, I know now that's 5 hours in A&E. Not because and they don't give a shit about your eye either. It's not hanging out.
You're not dying.
You're going to sit there for 5 hours. But those people, then he has to then fight on for 13 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was.
I got a lot of different feelings on this because I know what you're saying, but I with the referee thing, I think that could be something that's taken out of their hands. You know, when there's an eye poke, could be stopped, and someone outside the ring sort of puts the time back.
Fair enough.
Just to keep it simple. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to fuck around too much.
Yeah.
The referee's got to okay it that it was an eye poke.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes to this man who comes in or doesn't come in or whatever.
Literally injury time. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it's he's got 13 minutes left to fight, that's what you get.
Yeah.
It's a fight. Do you know what I mean? That's what you get. But I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? It is tough because how accidental was it? There's definitely been times in fights where people have gone, "Fuck, I'm tired. I have one of them."
Yeah, exactly. And surely there has to be. And John Jones is an absolute champion of it. if you're surely there's a rule about there being a palm up or something, because they're literally leading with the poke, which is stopping people from lunging in for.
I wonder. I agree. Definitely, some of it's done on purpose, but also it is a bit natural, right? If you've got open fingers, me and you are fighting, and you come to my face, and I kind of you walk onto it. We've been poked. How many times have you been poked in the eye in jiu-jitsu?
Twice.
Do you know what I'm saying? I've been poked in the eye terrible in jiu-jitsu. I've been
but routinely,
you always get touched, don't you? And it's not. They're not trying to poke you in the eye. They're just clumsy. Spazzy blue belts. But do you know what I'm saying? You get it, don't you? It happens. And I think there's only so much you can do. You can't. You can't. What are you going to do? Unless you put them in boxing gloves.
Yeah, man, exactly.
You can't, and it is what it is.
Well, yeah, I suppose. No, you're right. It just looked like, it was just especially bad luck because he was like obviously signaling that he needed time to recover from it and just give it a fucking rub. Yeah. Or like.
But you're supposed to be allowed 5 minutes. Oh, I don't know if you're allowed 5 minutes for a low blow.
I think you can. I don't think there's an upper limit on.
Oh, right, is that right? Because I think from what I've heard in the podcast before, that is like a referee discretion one. Whereas the low blow, you can have 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Which to me, it should be the same, right?
Yeah, man, exactly.
Should probably be the same. I don't know.
I think you could, I haven't been kicked in the nuts by a professional MMA fighter, but I've taken big accidental knees at training before. Oh, yeah. And you might roll around and take some deep breaths for a couple of minutes, but you're back in the next round. Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
Whereas, like an eye poke, a bad eye poke.
Yeah, it's different.
None of them are good, let's face it.
And jiu-jitsu is different too. Sometimes I've been poked in the eye in jiu-jitsu. You're grappling, so you're holding on, and you can kind of you've got someone's back, you're on top side, and you can kind of figure it out for 30 seconds. Squeeze the neck, squeeze the neck. But do you know what I mean? If you're out in the open and you're striking with someone, and your eyes are closed, a wheel kick's coming, and you're in trouble.
And you've got to judge distance, and you've got to as soon as you lose the sight in one eye, your binocular vision goes, and you can't judge distance, and it is potentially transformative for a fight. Anyway, I think he should have been given proper time to recover and proper time to redress the balance, because that was harsh.
Because it is worse than a nut shot as well, isn't it? Nut shot hurt. I don't know about you, but if I get caught bad in the low blow, I want to carry on because I want to keep moving. I don't want to stop.
I want to curl up into a little ball on the side of the mat, breathe it out, and then potentially do little jumpy up and down things to extract my chest.
Okay, you're one of those. See, I want to keep moving because I'm it hurts, and I just want to keep grappling. But I tell you what I've had. What's worse than a nut shot, and this is going to sound weird. We're getting a bit creepy on here, but it's I got caught right on the penis.
Really?
So bad. That was a bad one. Twice I've had that bad. Where someone's almost from the side caught you with a knee.
On the shaft.
Right on that's the word I was looking for. That's why I went the penis. The shaft is the word I was looking for. And that was worse. That one. Passing guard.
Yeah, okay.
So as I'm passing, the knees kind of donked me. Bad. Twice it's happened to me. Once years ago and once about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it's horrendous. Mate. But the pain doesn't simmer for a good 15 minutes.
Really?
Is as extreme until I was in the shower. And I was like, woo. Now I can walk it off a bit. Do you know what I mean? But it was I had to keep moving because I stopped and I went, hold on, give us a sec. I was like, it's getting worse. Yeah, I passed the guy.
That's fine. Yeah.
Squeezed the neck.
It's just a sacrifice.
Exactly. That's what you get. You ain't that big anyway. But it was, do you know what I mean? It wasn't going. But a nut shot, you get and it kind of does chill.
Man,
but don't get hit in the penis, guys.
There you go, yeah. Or the shaft, for that matter.
So down the card now, I didn't watch this piece. Is there anything that stood out at all that was worth a mention?
Where are we up to?
We've done the main card, so we're into the prelim ESPN 2, ESPN Plus card.
Yeah, so there was, so the interesting thing in that fight was where basically Almeida, they got the takedown. Kopylov knocked down Almeida. And then
sorry, this is Cesar Almeida, because there's 2 Almeidas on the card. Jalton's the one I want to talk about as well. So Cesar Almeida and Roman Kopylov, which is a middleweight bout.
So he knocks him down, and then he basically let him recover because he was sort of
clean knockdown.
Clean knockdown, but half-assedly kicking him on the ground. Right. And I was like, I don't know I'm not a tactician or anything, but surely he wants to either get on him and murk him or get him to stand up and put the pressure on. But in the moment, he was obviously just sort of unsure. But basically, that fight, it was basically just gets the takedown, does nothing. Gets the takedown, does nothing. gets the takedown, does nothing.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and then like at the end, he'd got the takedown. He was just kicking his butt, literally kicking him in his legs and his backside while he's lying on the floor until the clock went down.
As in, he's like in sort of a guard position, is he?
Yeah,
his legs
just
here,
prone on his back, and he was just literally just clock watching. Yeah. It was a rubbish fight.
Didn't squeeze the neck.
Yeah.
Fuck him. But not a friend of the show.
But between those two fights, that's when Trump turns up.
Oh,
and like everyone's just losing their minds.
In a good way or a bad way?
I'd say probably 50-50.
Is that right?
In the crowd, there are people who are obviously mad Trump supporters, and there are people who think he's
because the fights are in New Jersey, so I don't know what the area is like.
Yeah, good point, man. Probably, I would assume, quite Republican.
I don't know. I mean, it's close to New York, isn't it?
We're talking about American politics here, mate.
We got it all.
Zero knowledge.
Tell us about the First Amendment. Yeah,
but like as soon as he showed up, jumping back quickly to that Brown Santos fight, that funny moment in the commentary where Joe Rogan goes, "What are they?" The crowd is chanting something. And Joe Rogan goes, "What are they shouting?" And Cormier goes, "It's not good."
What was they shouting?
Shouting, "Fuck Joe Biden."
Oh, was that?
Yeah,
Well, again, that's what you get, right? I mean, Joe, bless him. I don't think he'd even realise. Well, he don't even know Joe Biden is anymore.
We are way out of my depth here, mate.
You're in your depths to know what Joe Biden's out of his mind. You see, that's my way off subject now. But have you seen the compilation videos of him falling over? Oh, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. There's like a compilation everywhere he goes. He's just like smiling and waving falls. It's brilliant. There's about 8 falls, and there's one of them going up the stairs to the plane. And he kind of turns and he waves. He falls over. He kind of gets up, falls over again, and then he tries to save it and falls a third time. And it's like, oh man, bless him. Someone help him.
Like when you're drunk in front of your parents, you're going to hold it together.
Exactly.
No, I'm fine.
Bless him, old man falling over.
Yeah,
that's what you get. Isn't it? Put yourself in that
exactly.
position. Anyways, I want to talk about some of the stuff that's come up with the rules. So, you know, the low blows are obviously out.
Yep.
No eye gouging, no biting.
Yep.
Other than that, I'm quite for whatever goes.
Yeah.
Kicking a downed opponent, hitting in the back of the head.
Yeah, exactly. I think that like they try and strike the balance, or rather, they brought the rules brackets general and those sort of specific rules in to like make it more appealing to the mainstream. And I think that those kicks to the downed opponent, headbutts, etc. They keep it appealing to a really broad audience. Like you, I think when you see, like, if you have like Jorge Masvidal's Game Bred MMA, which is literally bare knuckle MMA, which is full on, any of those bare knuckle FC sort of fights where, like, if we're prepared to let someone, you know, drop an elbow on a downed opponent, then we should probably be letting them kick them and potentially even, like, I can't believe I'm saying it, potentially even headbutt as well.
I'm for it. Yeah,
within a certain sort of, I don't know, but I don't think those things will ever come in because they are quite brawly and quite sort of, you recognise them from like violent car park fights, and I think that that's what separates it from a sport separates the sport element to the like street fight element.
But that's what people want, though, right? You want a bit of brutal stuff. Man. And I don't think it necessarily makes it more dangerous. I just think it changes it. Because, like what you said there, where he's laying on the floor, who was it, Kopilov laying on the floor, getting kicked in the bum? That would change. If you kick it down the opponent, like, because if you're looking to kick someone in the head, they're not going to lay there. He's going to look for, like, all sorts of things you can do. And it's dangerous on the legs, too. You can't just kick if someone's blocking properly. And exactly, you're not going to be there. And if someone's headbutting you...
Like in... is it Lethway? Yeah, and that Dave Leduc guy who, you know, you see him drilling headbutts on pads, and you go,
"Not good idea.
Let's
never ever do that
ever."
That's got to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, but if those sort of like Art of the Nine Limbs fighting was in MMA, so you know full use of fists, elbows, knees, feet, and head at all times in all settings, then it becomes a different sport at that point.
But you don't need to practice headbutts on pads, right? Because if I'm in your guard and there's just an opportunity to drop my head on you, that's what it is, isn't it? How much do you need to practice that?
I think he's doing headbutts from range.
But you're not going to do that on a good fight, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, there's plenty of highlight videos of him doing it.
Yeah, but who are the fighters?
True.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because Lethway, not that I'm knocking it, but Lethway is quite a small pool of people that are doing Lethway. So you're probably the best guy in your village in Burma and you're the guy. Do you see what I'm saying? So if he was doing that against like top Muay Thai guys, I don't think you're going to get the chance to land a head much.
So you're right. It's probably going to be more often on the ground.
Exactly, and more just a donk when it comes there. We're in guard. You're pulling me close. I just stick a 6-inch headbutt on you, and it is what it is.
What hurts more, a 6-inch headbutt or a 6-inch elbow?
I think elbow worse, isn't it? I don't know.
Mate, my head must weigh 15 kilos.
Yeah,
mate.
well, the headbutt probably hurts more, but that can probably do more damage in terms of slashing you up. But also, the other one I wanted to touch on was when I've heard people talk about, like, if you had someone's back, rather than going for a rear naked choke, you can elbow him in the back of the head.
Yeah, fair.
I think that'll open up more rear naked chokes, not shut them down.
Yeah, agree.
Because if someone's headbutt in the back of your head, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
straight away, right? You're going to put it there, and that opens up all kinds of arm bars and headbutt. Sorry, not headbutts. Takes the headbutt away, opens up arm bars, chokes, all kinds of things.
We're so desensitized to it, aren't we? Talking about headbutts in MMA,
and also headbutting, like elbow to the back of the head is different, but a headbutt, you got to take damage too.
Man,
so you don't want to be here loading up a headbutt too much, right? As I say, it's like a opportunity thing, right? If you're in guard and I've got a chance to headbutt your nose.
And it's got to be sort of soft palate area, hasn't it? Or like,
and drop it from low, bang, boom, to just let you know. Do you know what I mean? And then it's going to open things up to what can we do from there? Squeeze the neck, bitch. No, but all that kind of stuff, right? I'm all for the kicks on the floor, knees to down the opponent if you're in a turtle position, but also north south. I'm all for it. Don't be there. Make the game more exciting because refs stop the fights anyway, right? So if you get a good solid knee to the head, stop the fight. I'm all for it.
Exactly. And actually, from turtle, how exposed are you to a knee to the head?
Yeah.
Like it's more your sort of ribs and your...
Which is allowed anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just don't like the down the opponent shit. People game the system and sort of put their hands down.
As soon as there's a rule in place, then the gaming of the rule comes in.
Yeah.
And we've seen, like, with Peter Yan is probably the one that springs to mind, and Aljamain, like, as soon as that rule doesn't just get gamed, but gets taken advantage of, then, in big title fights...
Can't make that a win. We spoke about this before, right? But you can't make that a win. There had to be a no contest and fight again for the belt. Yeah. But what about gloves? Do you like gloves or not?
I think that the gloves make it... Like, if I think... And I know this is... I joke about this a lot, but, like, I watch all of these UFCs on a Sunday morning, first thing on a Sunday morning. Like, I reckon... my wife will sit in there with me and like go on her phone or something if I'm watching it. If it was bare knuckle, then I think I genuinely think that alienates a huge portion of the audience. And like Vic certainly wouldn't sit in there if I was watching bare knuckle MMA. Do you know what I mean? Like that is a step beyond it. I think the gloves, if nothing else, keep it kind of to a broad appeal. They can stick it on ESPN. It can be on a billboard outside, Madison Square Garden or whatever. Like, the gloves are the thing that connect the sport to the casual fan and people who are like new fans coming in, because they keep that sort of barbaric element to it. Like, 5 out of 10 rather than a 10 out of 10, for instance.
But I like the gloves, but for a different reason. I just think the fights would be boring bare knuckle. Because the reason they brought gloves in boxing originally was to liven up the fights, right? Like, it's not to protect your face, it's to protect my hands. And if you see like a lot of them fights that drag on, this kind of business going on, isn't it? It's all well and good coming out throwing loads of punches, but if me and you have a complete tear up for 30 seconds, we've both got broken hands. The rest of the fight slows down, doesn't it? So I like gloves for that reason.
Yeah, man.
But we're going on a whole tangent now about rounds and things.
Rounds
or no?
Rounds or no? Yeah, there's been loads of debate, like active debate at the moment about
again starting them in the position.
Exactly.
I think that's all nonsense.
I think it is all nonsense, but I think that. Again, I think it, like, when you have that kind of round structure, it evens things out a little bit. So people with crap cardio are more effective in those later rounds. But you have the debate about, like, if you're on my back trying to squeeze the fucking neck, and I'm like, I could probably just, well, probably not with you, but if I was defending it effectively and there was 10 seconds left, I'm just like,
you take the 10 seconds,
just hanging on that. I can hang on to that for 10 seconds against most people. Yourself excluded.
He's so nice to be on my podcast. Hey.
Only because you've choked so many times.
But I just think 1 round, 15-minute round.
Yeah,
have a fight for 15 minutes.
But do you think that makes for exciting? Like that's in jiu-jitsu, and that, especially in no-gi jiu-jitsu, that's a format that's often applied to it. Do you think that makes for exciting fights?
Yeah, I do, because I think people look at things a bit differently. Now, there's be 2 ways of looking at it. Obviously, if I'm 4 minutes in and I'm wrecked, it could slow the fight down. But at the same time, it could be a situation of, right, I don't want to be in here for 15 or 25 minutes for a title fight. Yeah. I'm going to stick it on him now. And I'm going to get ahead early. Even if I'm not going to finish him, I might get a position like Islam's a great example from this card. He ain't going to wait around, is he? He's going to try and take you down straight away and keep you there and keep you there and keep you there. And if you've been held down for 7 minutes, you know what it feels like. You're fucked.
But is that an exciting fight for an audience, for a spectator?
But I think what would happen is openings would come. So like people are tired, they get up to their feet and they're having a swing up now. And I just think it's a better way to do it. I would get rid of rounds. Would be if I could change one rule in MMA, it would be get rid of rounds.
I think that you're right. But I do think that as a spectator and as a fan of the sport, like I think having that kind of having the break, having like getting corner advice, getting the chance to sort of have 60 seconds, whatever it is, 2 minutes to. Is it 2 minutes or 1 minute? 1 minute to sort of suck in a bit of air like a fucking Dyson.
Yeah.
But starting in the same position would be...
Interesting, yeah. Because I'm the complete opposite. I don't think starting the positions one. I'm like, nah, fuck it, the round run out. Or don't have the round.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But what we need to do is we need to find a smaller organisation that will put it on with no round.
Have a crack, yeah.
Me and you can put one on, the fucking squeeze the next fight night.
It would just be like loads of people completely fucking knackered at like 8-9 minutes.
Well, you got bars, right? There's bound to be loads of people who come down. Pass people around, just pass some flyers to see if they want to fight. Yeah, and we'll throw in like a 4-stripe white belt every now and then just to wreck their world.
Spice things up a bit. But I do think that when you watch those sort of maybe 15 minutes isn't a good example of jiu-jitsu or nogi jiu-jitsu, but when you watch these kind of no time limit matches or matches that have one very long round, sub only, whatever, I do think that people are much more cautious to begin with because they're conscious of the gas tank.
But I think it's different jiu-jitsu because there's no striking. Where we're saying you can rest. If you're on my back and we're tired and I'm behind, you can grab me and take a second and stall 45. Whereas if striking's involved, it's a little bit different. There's things I can do, even if it's simple like elbowing your knee, moving, twisting, turning.
But could I not then dance away from you?
Of course you could,
I guess that's not resting, admittedly, but like, I don't know.
But you might need to do that, and that's part of a fight, and I think that's exciting too. If you're fucked and I'm chasing you down, the crowd's into that too.
Yeah.
And also scoring, I also think it should be so much more simple. I don't think we should have a scoring system. I think it should be the 3 judge or 5 judges or whatever you want to have watching the fight, and then when at the end of the fight, who won the fight? He did. Who won the fight? He did.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Boom. You can be pulled up on it after if it's a clear and obvious decision, like someone took a beating. And you go, he did, and I say the other one did. I get that, there's wiggle room. But I just think it should be more simple because it goes back to the old thing of if someone's winning at the end of the fight, let's just go 15-minute fight. Me and you are fighting for 15 minutes. For the first 7.5 minutes, I beat the shit out of you, right?
That's probably how it would go.
But for the next 7.5 minutes, you turn it around and the fight ends, and you're on top of me, elbowing my head.
Yeah.
It looks like you won. So you did win. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, fair
You did
enough.
win the fight.
Yeah,
or even more extreme than that. If I beat the shit out of you for 14 minutes, but then you kick me in the head, and the end, I get saved by the bell, I'm all over the shop, you're elbowing me to the next dimension, you should still win the fight to me.
Yeah, man.
Because what I did didn't do enough damage to you to stop you, but you was killing me at the end,
Like if that Usman-Leon Edwards fight goes... Like if the head kick doesn't knock him out, he wins.
Yeah, easy.
But
he did kick him in the head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And put him out. But it's like, I just think it should be scored more heavily at the end of the round. At the fight.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? And I don't think you need to overcomplicate it by, well, he did this takedown and he threw this many kicks. It's all bullshit. It don't matter. Who do you think won the fight? If me and you go outside your bar now and there's 2 lunatics having a tear up, we've got a rough idea of who won.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need a pen and paper and sit there and go, oh, well, 2 minutes ago, back here now, the tall guy did this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I guess that's the difference between fighting and fighting for sport.
Yeah.
So like all of those, all the things like the rounds, the gloves, and all of those things that we just talked about, those are the difference between like fighting and sport.
Yeah.
Those are the things that make it a sport, and those are the things that separate it from fighting.
So we've got a new business venture. Me and you are going to start Squeeze the Neck Fight Camp. Me and you are going to main event the first show. We're going to be the main event, and we're going to have a tear up to see what's up, and whoever wins can pick the rules.
Yeah. God.
But yeah, it's good, man. Anything else coming up that we're gonna review for the fans?
What else have we got in there? I wanted to talk to you about one more thing, which was the first 2 fights on that. So actually, when the broadcast started, they had that Basil Hafez and Mickey Gall fight from the early prelims because they must have overrun for whatever reason. and it comes into that fight like the 3rd or 4th minute in the 3rd round, and they're just knocking 7 bells of shit out of each other.
Right.
It goes to the decision, obviously, which I think Hafez won, actually. I don't know why it says Gaul there.
No, it says Marwan Hafez. Hafez defeat Gaul.
But anyway, so there's that fight where there's basically like there's 4 minutes of just haymakers, basically, and then you go into that Rowe and Matthews fight. Phil Rowe, who fought Gordon and fought Craig Jones, and like he's obviously a grappling superstar in his own right, grappling star in his own right. Like both of those fights had like moments where they're just like standing in the middle of the cage, bashing each other. Hafez especially gestures to Mickey Gall to say, let's bash in the middle of the cage, a la Gagey and Holloway. Like, and what I wanted to ask you is like, do you think that like when there's such a huge moment in the MMA world, like that knockout, like other things happen in UFC 302, we can't remember any of them. We do remember that. Do you think that changes the way that people fight? Do you think that changes the way that people approach fights with a view to emulating that moment, going massive on socials and becoming a bigger star? Or do you think that's down to the individual who are just trying to...
I think so. I don't think you can think of that too much in advance, right? I think when you're in there, it just sort of clicks in and it's like, fucking let's just go. Because if you go in there planning that from the off, you're probably going to get caught early, you know what I mean?
What if neither of those, or all 4 of those people have never done that before?
It's a good question. It probably plants something in it, doesn't it? You know, and it goes back a little bit to what I said about the changing no rounds and stuff. You know, if you had a grappler, for example, and a striker, that grappler's probably going to be more patient and slow pressure because if he gets you down, he knows he's got time to work. Whereas the striker is probably going to up it and go completely bananas because he don't want to get taken down. So he's got to take you out to a certain degree. So I think it could add some excitement to it. And also, if that's in their mind of let's have a tear up because Max Holloway did it and such, I think it's probably there, but I think in the moment you wonder, like adrenaline pumping.
Do you remember when was it Jalen Turner? I can't remember who he was fighting now.
When he dropped him,
he's like arms up, walk off, knockout, and the referee's like, nah, he's all right. As you go, and then he lost the fight. Like you see Sugar Sean O'Malley, and you see like you know, other sort of superstars going for that walk-off knockout, and you see people trying to emulate that, and you know, changing the way it fights. I just wonder, like, how transformative that would be for fights like.
It's interesting. I don't know. I think it's case by case.
Those people,
but with the Jalen one where he walked off, I wonder if a part of that was like he chinned him. He thought that's handy. I can take a bit of a break, and I'll just use this as like a walk-off because I've got to think that if he felt like he could have finished him, or he could have finished him probably, but if he felt like it when he landed and he went down. He had that oomph. You've got to think he jumped on him, right? He must have
done that many times before.
Right, and I think he probably looked at it, and where he fell, he's a couple of steps away, and the energy and everything's going nuts, and he probably thought,
and maybe the ref sort of moved a little bit,
and something's a bit like, and then he thought, never mind, whatever. Do you know what I mean? And then he lost the fight, but it's a tough game, isn't it? You know what I mean? There's a lot going on there. You know what I mean?
But no, man, it was like a bit of a grindy card sometimes, but there are some big moments in there, and yeah, man, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Good fight night. Good. As I say, I only watched the main card, but we got some decisions, but we got some excitement anyway. I thought the main event was really good.
Yeah, so, man, agree.
Boom. Next one coming up, I think we've got is it the Manchester one next?
Yes.
So we got Leon and
that's right,
Bilal and Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades. So that's
going to be an exciting one. That
we might have to meet up for round 3 for that one, me old mate, and see what happens there. Maybe we'll do it before that one. Have a build-up show as well. Nice. But yeah. All good, mate. Thank you very much for doing this. Anything you want to plug? Plug your business?
Nah, yeah, man. If anyone feels like going to the records bars, then give it a crack.
And even if you don't, go anyway. That's what we're doing. But yeah, nice one, guys. Episode 9, Squeeze the Neck podcast.
Cheers.
Boom.